Proven American design or refined German engineering? Today, we're going to look at the Ford E-Series versus the Mercedes Sprinter 3500, and you get to decide which is the better Class C. Welcome to another video from SuperSteer, where as a company, we've been providing safer and happier driving since 1961. Are you considering getting a motorhome? If so, you might be looking at a Class C. Now, two of the most common types of Class C coaches are the Ford E-Series, so the E350 and E450, and the Mercedes Sprinter. Both have their pros and cons, and both have provided freedom on the road to many RVers. However, there is debate over which is the better option. And today, we'll present our evidence for both sides, and you can be the judge. And make sure to stick around to the end, where we'll give you a link to a downloadable PDF that will help you make a decision. Now, before we get started, let's get our definitions straight. Today, I brought my dad in to weigh in on this. What is the difference between a Class B and a Class C motorhome?
That's a good question. Not everyone agrees on the answer. For instance, Pleasureway, the company who made this E350-based coach, calls their products Class B. Generally speaking, a Class B coach is made by starting with a complete van with the interior and the back removed and replaced with a living space by the coach manufacturer. A Class C, on the other hand, starts with a cutaway van or truck chassis with only a cab. Then you have B-plus coaches, which are somewhere in between.
Okay.
That's without getting to a Class A coach, which are a completely different animal. For the sake of this discussion, we'll focus on Class C cutaway chassis coaches.
Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting that Pleasureway calls their coaches Class B, because in this case, at least, they definitely did not use a van body. And if you run the VIN on that coach, it does state that it was a cutaway chassis. So I'm going to call this thing a Class C, which does lead us to looking at Class C coaches specifically. Dad, can you tell us why Class C coaches are so popular?
Sure. Well, I've experienced personally how easy to drive our Winnebago Navion is. It's very maneuverable, and you can run higher speeds with it and still get good fuel economy. A lot of RVers might be ready to downsize to a smaller Class C for these reasons. Or if you're new to RVing, a Class C is also a good type of coach to start with. The bigger Class A coaches have a much different driving feel than what most people are used to. Since you're sitting over or in front of the front axle and there's no hood on the front of the coach, a Class C feels more like you're driving a big van.
Yeah, thanks, Dad, for that explanation. Definitely experienced those differences myself. And then, question for you: do you own a Class C? If so, leave a comment below and tell us what you like about it. So we've already mentioned two of the most common types of Class C coaches, so the Ford E-Series, such as this E350 Pleasureway we have in our shop today, and the Mercedes Sprinter 3500, such as the Tiburon that we have in our shop, as well as our own Winnebago Navion. So let's take a look at the pros and cons for each type of chassis and see if we can figure out which one is better. So, Dad, as a Sprinter owner, I think it's only fitting that we start off with you talking about your coach. So what would you say are the pros of the Sprinter 3500?
Rack and pinion steering is one of the real benefits. Very crisp, good fuel economy, maneuverability, good handling, especially after the upgrades. Good ride quality, higher in-cab materials feel a little nicer.
Feels like a Mercedes, right?
Yeah, like a Mercedes. And the turbo diesel gives you good performance at high altitude going over those big, long passes.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty good list. I can definitely see why some people like the Sprinters, but there are some cons as well. So one, low cargo capacity. You definitely experienced that. Shorter wheelbase with, again, less space. Low fuel capacity. Pretty small tank on those, right?
25 gallons.
Okay, yep. Low speed sway, especially when stock. They're pretty sensitive to winds. Pretty expensive, too, compared to the competition out there. Service can be harder to find, and that service itself is more expensive. You've also got a lighter unibody and subframe. And then finally, you're also sending your dollars overseas, right? Versus keeping it American.
All right. So the Sprinter's good, but it's definitely not perfect.
Agreed. So now that we've looked at that European-engineered Mercedes, let's take a look at our American alternative. So starting with the pros, it is a very proven design. It's, 50-plus years old? It's been around a long time. Got really good cargo capacity, good towing capacity. You've got a durable engine and transmission, including the new ones have that Godzilla 7.3-liter V8. So more power.
And better mileage, actually, out of the V8.
Compared to the V10. Yep, more space. You've got a sturdy suspension with a body-on-frame construction, much higher fuel capacity. lower cost to purchase. Also, it's very easy to find Ford dealerships and shops familiar with the chassis. You know, there's millions of these things out there. Less of that low-speed sway. You can buy American, and you can upgrade to liquid spring.
I do prefer to buy American, and the liquid spring upgrade is nice. Without it, the E-Series coaches don't drive super great, which brings us to the cons, at least for a stock E350 or E450. Handling is poor when stock, especially heavy coaches. High-speed sway is kind of more of an issue. This is a problem they've been having for years, and we have a little video called The Little Fat Whale, which we'll probably share that with you.
I felt like I was driving a little fat whale down the highway.
A little fat whale.
Steering feel with the twin I-beam is not optimal. You get some bump steer, poor return to center, lower fuel economy, harsher ride quality when stock, and lower in-cab feels a little bit more like a cargo van.
Sure. So there you have it. You got the major pros and cons for both chassis. So please let us know if we missed anything. Now, we're not going to decide for you which is better. It really does depend on your own preferences, where and how you plan to drive, and how much space you need. So let us know in the comments below what you think. Is the fine German-engineered Sprinter superior, or is the American stalwart E-Series the better choice? We really appreciate you watching this video to the end, and as promised, here is the QR code to download our free Class C fact sheet. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. We've noticed that most of our viewers are not subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more videos like this. And until next time,
We wish you safer and happier driving.
thank you.